Come okay.
Minjani Joe. Ani metu, ni puke. Abang kache.
Mari ni boleh tuna la tangkas.
Ay puke na kache.
Ay minjani na.
Ay puke na Joe minjani.
Nana puke ile man. Ay puke Joe.
Yeah.
Puke kache. Wewe kujo. Ya pila pawa. Ano sasa vai baba.
Ya wela Alexander.
Ya wela sasa vai baba. Ani wele mkomeni ni. Ninga baso ninga wele mkomeni.
Ya wela Alexander. Ya wela Alexander.
Behave para Joe. Naswele mgodini singawazi.
Yeah.
Behave para Joe. Aswele mgodini singawazi.
Kumefika Treasury mina ni kumi na buta afana ku ri mewara bunduka. Kumefika Treasury mina kumi mina na buta mfana ku ri mewara.
No, wena mitintwana ta mina kan fanele mkuma.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm finding that's why they go, hey, careful, Mingaweli. Because like me, I get
Simba, child you will go to be some.
Oh, Pinyo.
Child or get to one, they will go to be some.
Taking Chewan,
members are ANC.
No man, takala me wana pojuma.
Thank you, but.
Na me mere ne meteme tan phone na me engage.
Thank you. Can we get those virtually?
Madam Speaker, you look beautiful today, man.
Can you observe a moment of silence for meditation and prayer? Thank you. You may sit. What votes do you want, Member Msimang? Morning, colleagues. Our session is on. Honorable members. Do we have announcements? Member Mabala, is she in the house? Or yes, she's virtual? Member Mabala has got an announcement.
Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker. The EFF Houghton Provincial Legislature Caucus would like to take this opportunity to congratulate the former member of the Houghton Provincial Legislature, Dr. Mgcini Tshwaku, for being conferred with a PhD degree in Science, Engineering and Technology. Am I audible, Madam Deputy Speaker?
Excuse me?
Am I audible?
No, they were drowning you with noise. Continue.
Yes, you're audible, yes.
Okay. Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker. The EFF Houghton Provincial Legislature Caucus would like to take this opportunity to congratulate the former member of the Houghton Provincial Legislature, Dr. Mgcini Tshwaku, for being conferred with PhD degree in Science, Engineering and Technology. The EFF takes joy in making education fashionable and will continue to do so. We are proud and inspired by your great achievements, Dr. Mgcini Tshwaku. Thank you.
Thank you. Focus. This one, what did we agree on?
Kana le tshaba sekolo lena yo.
Thank you, Member Mabala, for that. Before we proceed with statements, apologies. We've got apologies from Member Kanyana, who's out of the country, Members Mnisi and Members Mofama due to ill health. Thank you. We do not have MEC statements. Member statements in terms of Rule 81(1) will come from Member Engelbrecht, Member Atkinson, Member Makubela, Member Padenost, and Member Ratebe. In that order, Member Engelbrecht.
Deputy Speaker, on Sunday evening, a devastating fire spread through 400 shacks at the informal settlement of Cemetery View, Pretoria Park, Tshwane. Fortunately, no lives were lost, but over 1,000 people are now without homes or belongings. Residents and several MPOs have jumped in to assist where possible, providing food and blankets. While this may bring some form of respite, this is only a temporary fix. Without the adequate and speedy rollout of housing projects or in situ projects, residents of Gauteng who have no formal place to call their own home will continue to be at the mercy of shack fires. With winter soon approaching, sadly, this will not be the last fire in the informal settlements that will cause people to lose what few possessions they have and force them to start their lives from scratch once again. This is an indictment on this ANC government that hundreds of thousands of people in this province are still trapped in the hellholes of informal settlements. There is a cruel irony that in the week where we celebrated Human Rights Day, there are countless people in this province who are still denied their basic human rights. I thank you.
Thank you, Member. Member Atkinson is in the house. Order.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This week we celebrated Human Rights Day in South Africa. However, there's little to celebrate when we turned a blind eye to the criminal acts and gross human rights violations by President Vladimir Putin's illegal invasion of the sovereign state of Ukraine. South Africa's deafening silence under the so-called guise of neutrality puts into question our commitment to human rights around the world. We have a moral obligation to call out and condemn these illegal acts by Russia over the past month and call upon the Russian army to withdraw from all Ukrainian territory. Helen Suzman famously said that the cornerstone of any decent, legitimate society is respect for the rule of law and respect for human rights, amongst other factors. We cannot call ourselves a legitimate human rights society when atrocities are meted out against innocents in Ukraine. The DA and millions of peace-loving people in this country reject this abhorrent illegal invasion of Ukraine. The age of empire...
Order.
The age of empire is over, and Putin's attempts to colonize Ukraine and recreate the Soviet-Russian empire that existed prior to 1990 is out of step with the world as we know it.
Order.
This House must respect Ukrainians' desire for freedom and the ability to enjoy unhindered basic human rights.
Order.
Human rights abusers. You appreciate human rights abusers. There you go. Thank you.
Can you... Order, Member Budisa. Order! I know it's Friday, colleagues, I know. And it's the last day before recess. Can we behave? Member Mudise? Member Mudise, Madam Simang. Member Simang, Member Mudise.
It's not Friday, it's this Bangladesh that you are hearing from this member. It's got nothing
Member
to do with Friday, acting speaker.
Member Bones.
This one was just talking
Member Mudise. Member Mudise. Member Simang also. I'm requesting kindly. Colleagues, members, Member Simang, the same way you must also keep quiet. Member Mudise. Member Mudise. Member Mudise. Maybe let's call the police, colleagues. Let's call the police on those two members. Let's call the police. Let's call the police for these two members because they think they're super members in this house. I'm saying you must shut up and to say not to shut up. We're not going to have that. It's Friday. It's the last day before recess. There is excitement, but can you respect this house? Was it not your maiden announcement, Member Atkinson? And it's what, Member Msimangoli, me, I'm going to be Zaksondela. We should have respected that member because it was his maiden statement. Yes, maiden statement. Let's not have that. Let's keep order, colleagues. There's excitement. The pie is open. We'll meet after that. Owango, we are going to listen to this presidium. Let's go to Member Makubele. Amano Salikov, ngaphandle, Member Msimangoli, no phones. Member Makubele is in the house? Or virtual?
Yeah, they must go outside. Even this Member Makubele is
Mabala, don't get inspired. Don't get inspired, Member Mabala. Why is there no control today here? Member Mabala, you must be helpful now, man. Don't get inspired there.
I'm going to deal with you decisively.
Member Makubele, start with your statement. We've not even gone past the first item, you're chaotic.
People need to be civilized here. This is an organization.
Ezra and all of you.
Pride.
Call him.
Where's Ezra?
Makubele, can you focus? Member Makubele, focus. Leave Ezra and Mabala. Those things are outside the scope. Enter.
He's not focused.
Is it my turn, Madam Speaker?
Yes, the platform is yours. Go on. Stop focusing on Member Mabala.
No, thank you very much.
Yeah, you must not focus on
Hey, Yahweh, hey.
I'm glad I'm protected.
I, Honorable Makubela, tables the following member statement on the adoption of the Houghton Economic Development Bill. Madam Deputy Speaker, yesterday marked a huge milestone and a breakthrough for the citizens of Houghton, particularly for township economy and South Africans residing in our province. This August House, after much wrangling and opposition from opposition parties, unanimously adopted the Houghton Township Economic Development Bill. The bill, which was initiated by the ANC-led government, will ensure that township businesses will now be able to fully participate in the mainstream economy of this province. For the longest of time, Madam Deputy Speaker, township businesses were unable to have equal access for various reasons, including that they cannot access formal markets and financing for the goods and services they could provide to government. This bill, in line with the ANC manifesto, the ANC committed itself to transform the economy to serve the people. When we committed ourselves to be an activist caucus, Madam Deputy Speaker, as the ANC, we had identified the issues that required to be addressed, and true to our commitment, the bill encompasses the views of the people of Gauteng. The Freedom Charter clause that the people shall govern lives through this bill. The ANC government ensured consultation with the citizens of this province through legislative processes. We are indeed the government of the people by the people. This milestone could not have been reached without the cooperation of the citizens of Gauteng who participated through the formulation of this bill. We urge our communities to make use of the avenues that will be opened by this bill, and that all government departments must ensure that they adhere to the requirement, especially police. Police must arrest any vigilante people who are trying to spike xenophobic attacks in our province and ensure that they are able to use this bill. Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Member Makubela. Member Paternoster.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It's good to see you after a few days of rest. Today marks the guilty verdict of Shoba in the Southern High Court. Wait, man. Hey, wait for your turn and then you can speak. Gender-based violence is a pandemic in South Africa because it happens against women and children. Today is the day for the orchestrator of Tsegofatsapule's murder. Every woman and girl child has a right to life, and Tsegofatsapule was manipulated and forced to commit an abortion with her first pregnancy. She fell pregnant for the second time, and then she was murdered and hanged to a tree for the sake of another woman not to find out about this cowardly, selfish act of a man without any backbone that has to implicate another man to clean up his mess. Today, South Africa is waiting for that verdict. Guilty as charged. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Member Padi. Order. Can the Romans stop? Colleagues want to You love each other after that. Member Ratebe, is she in the okay? Yes, Member Ratebe.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. The EFF would like to send sincere gratitude to the chairperson of the Community Safety Committee, the Honorable Alfina Ndlovana, and her team for the quick intervention in finding closure for the Ntonto family. Their son, Madilake Sondo, was finally identified on the 23rd March 2022 after he had been lying in Germiston government mortuary since he was brutally burned beyond recognition in January 2022. The processing of the DNA result took longer than usual and had forced the family to wait almost 2 months before they could get result and burial rights for their son. The family was brought to contact with Councillor Ntabisen Chivenga of the EFF in Ekurhuleni 2 weeks ago, who then initiated intervention with Honorable Ndlovana. Her consistent and selfless action and bringing closure for the family we will not go unnoticed. We wish to acknowledge and recognize the above public representatives, including Sergeant Puti Khwepe, based in Don Park Police Station, who is the investigating officer in the case and has done his utmost to also assist the family in finding closure. The EFF also sent its sincere condolences to the Zondo family. I thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, honorable members. Moving right along on giving notice of a motion in terms of Rule 121, Honorable Msimanga, you had requested a debate on matters of urgent public importance. Due to the time factor of when this was submitted, and a request of this nature was made before, so the Presidium has resolved that the Speaker will meet with leader of government business, discuss this matter that you've submitted, and you will be responded to. Yes, thank you. Let's get into business of the day. Honorable members, Secretary, please read the first order. Yeah, I did apologize. Focus.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker. Finance Portfolio Committee Oversight Report on the third quarterly performance report of the Department of E-Government for the 2021-2022 financial year. Thank you.
Member Mpisi, is he virtual or in the House?
Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker. Deputy Speaker, I would like to switch off my camera so that I can then have nice and strong bandwidth.
No.
Deputy Speaker, thank you so much. I'm presenting the third quarter report on e-government on behalf of the Portfolio Committee of Finance and E-Government. Madam Deputy Speaker, I'm not going to focus on the entire report. I'll take the areas that I'm not going to read as read, focus on the financial performance and non-financial performance. On the financial performance, the department summarized the financial performance for the quarter under review as follows. The percentage expenditure for quarter 3 was 84%. At the end of quarter 3, the department expenditure was at 67% year to date. On non-financials, Deputy Speaker, the department summarized the non-financial performance for the quarter under review as follows. Of the 31 indicators reported for the quarter under review, 19 were achieved, which constitute 61% of the performance measures achieved. The achievement is in relation to Program 1 and 2. On the target not achieved, Madam Speaker, on Program 1, 5 of the programs were not achieved. On Program 2, 7 of the programs were not achieved. The department has set 31 targets and achieved 19, which equates to 61% of the revised APP achievements. The Portfolio Committee noted with concern the underperformance of the department and will continue to monitor the quarterly report. However, the Portfolio Committee noted that the department's annual target has been surpassed by 28 sites, has been provided with when in a year to date. The department reported 84% budget expenditure in the third quarter, which brings the under expenditure to 16%. Contributors to underspending is in Program 1 and 2. The Portfolio Committee noted the under expenditure and will continue to monitor the quarterly performance report. On the committee's concerns and findings, Madam Deputy Speaker, the slow spending under Program 1 and 2 is one of our concerns. The following concern of slow progress in ensuring people with disability benefit from the procurement budget, that the department experienced a high rate of resignation during the quarter under review. And the fourth one is the highest number of unachieved targets during the quarter under review. On the recommendations, Madam Speaker, that the department should provide the report highlighting reasons for sluggish expenditure under Program 1 and 2, and we need a written response by the 29th of April 2022. That the department should develop and submit a strategy showing how it intends ensuring that people with disability benefit from the procurement budget. The written report should be submitted by the 29th of April 2022. That the department should provide reasons for high rate of resignation experienced during the quarter under review and how it intends mitigating against such resignations. We request the department to respond by the 29th of April 2022. The department should provide a report highlighting how it will mitigate against underperformance going forward. The report should be submitted by the 29th of April 2022. On acknowledgements, Madam Deputy Speaker, the Portfolio Committee extends gratitude to all the Honorable MEC Ngomorale Hoko and the officials of the Department of E-Government for their cooperation during the considerations of the report. Appreciations for diligent dedication and commitment shown during the deliberation on the third quarter performance report process goes to all members of the Portfolio Committee, Honorable Malema, Dehamela, Masuku, Macheke, Randall, Atkinson, Honorable Mukwebo, and Honorable Mazi. The committee's gratitude is extended to all the support staff for their diligent work and support. On adoption, Madam Speaker, in terms of Rule 1172C, read with Rule 164 of the Standing Rules of the Gauteng Provincial Legislature, the Finance Portfolio Committee present the Oversight report on the third quarter performance of the Gauteng Department of E-Government for 2021-22 financial year with recommendations for the adoption. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honourable Member. Do we have a seconder?
Member Randall. I rise to second, Madam Speaker. Honourable Malema.
Thank you, Honourable Malema. Those who agree with the adoption of the report say yes.
Yes.
Those who do not agree say no. Yes. The yes have it. Secretary, please take us to the second order.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Speaker. Finance Portfolio Committee Oversight Report on the third quarterly performance report of the Houghton Provincial Treasury for the 2021-2022 financial year. Thank you.
Honourable Mpizi.
Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker. I'll take the areas that I'm not going to read as read and focus on the executive summary of the report. The GPT's response to the following strategic priorities, Madam Speaker, that is the economic transformation and job creation and capable ethical and developmental state in terms of the National Development Plan, a medium-term strategic framework, and growing Houghton Together 2030 strategy, as well as the economy, jobs, and infrastructure with regards to the GGT 2030 to this end. And the achievement are as follows. In enhancing sound finance in the province An adjustment budget was tabled and agreed upon on Q3. The department further monitored compliance of the 30 days payment of the suppliers in all the departments. In support of the payment of suppliers in time, the department ensured that 96% of the invoices are submitted electronically against the target of 80%. On sound local government finance, in support of the municipality, the department held 4 IGR engagements with the relevant stakeholders. 8 assessments on MFMA compliance by the delegated municipalities were conducted, that the Gazette on the grant allocated to Houghton municipalities was published. On reduced youth unemployment, the department placed 64 youth internship programs. On the increased compliance with legislations, the department produced 30% spend report on the township suppliers and also produced the subcontracting report, and the internal audit recommended were tracked by the portfolio committee. On GIFA, Madam Speaker, we furthermore said that the GIFA recorded the following bankable project which are financed through capital investment raised from alternative sources on funding. The lease agreement between the private party and the South African National Space Agency for the Tshwane Innovation Hub Enterprise Building has been concluded and signed by both parties in Tshwane, which will lead to financial close. The private party is finalizing the private partnership agreement and due diligence on the rooftop solar PV. Eskom is also finalizing all the approval requirements on the process. On the concerns and recommendation, Madam Speaker, just a second, yes. On the committee's recommendation, Madam Speaker, the portfolio committee recommends that the GPT should provide cogent reasons why the organizational structure has not been populated 2 years after it was approved, that GIFA should seek advice and report to the committee on whether one performance target with deliverables count as 2 performance targets instead of 1, that GIFA should provide a report to the portfolio committee highlighting why feasibility study on the Gauteng schools program did not take place and was not considered for this particular financial year. That GIFA should submit a report to the portfolio committee accounting to failure of the Tshwane Innovation Hub Enterprise Building to conclude the financial close as planned in the previous financial year. On acknowledgement, Madam Speaker, the portfolio committee extend gratitude to Honorable MEC Nkomorale Hoko, the head of department, Ms. Mnyane, CEO of GIFA, Mr. Siabi, and all the officials of the Houghton Provincial Treasury for their cooperation during the consideration of the report. Appreciations for diligent dedication and commitment shown during this deliberation goes to all the members of the portfolio committee. The committee's gratitude is extended to all the support staff for their support and diligent work done during this process. After due consideration, Madam Speaker, on adoption, the Finance Portfolio Committee unanimously adopted the 3rd performance report of the Houghton Provincial Treasury for the 2021-22 financial year. In terms of Rule 1172C, read with Rule 164, the Finance Portfolio Committee present to this House and recommend for the adoption of the Committee's Oversight Report on the 3rd quarter performance on the Gauteng Provincial Treasury for 2021-22 financial year. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Member. Is there a seconder?
Member Matete, I rise to second.
Member who?
Member Matete.
Okay, captured. Those who agree with the adoption of the report say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Those who do not agree say no. The yes have it. Thank you. Third order, please, Secretary.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Speaker.
Madam
Finance
Speaker.
Portfolio Committee Oversight Report on the third quarterly performance
Madam
report
Speaker.
of the Houghton Provincial Government GPG-wide for the 2021-2022 financial year. Thank you.
Who's
Hello,
calling
Madam
out for the
Speaker.
Speaker? Yes?
No, it's Member Mazi. How can Member Macheke second the report whereby he's not a member of the committee?
No, Macheke, no. Mazwi, you don't come, so I'll say it.
You are extremely confused. You don't attend committee.
You are out of order, Mazwi.
It's not even a requirement for that matter.
This man is just
Thank you very much.
completely out
Let's
of
move
order.
along. Let's move
You
along.
must start coming to work when.
The battle of the virtualists must not distract us from our business. You virtual people, can you behave? Member MPC?
You can't say you virtual people. You are out of order, Madam Speaker. You can't say you virtual
Member
people.
Mabala, we know you are
all
present in this
honorable
meeting.
members. This is a
We know you are
hybrid
present. Can you sit
statement.
down? Member MPC, can you proceed?
But you can't say you virtual people.
We are virtual people. Virtualists, keep quiet.
And then you are physical ones. Come on.
Mama Bala, can you
Come
allow
on.
Member MPC to speak?
No, Speaker, you're supposed to invite us, all of us, to come physically. Don't call us visual people.
Members who are virtualists, can you allow us to proceed? Member MPC, please proceed, ma'am. Please proceed.
Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker. And Deputy Speaker, I'll take the areas that I'm not going to read as read and focus on the executive summary. The Houghton Provincial Government's quarterly financial performance report is tabled by the Houghton Provincial Treasury, affords the Portfolio Committee of Finance an opportunity to interrogate the financial position and monitor the financial performance of the GPG department for the quarter under review. Of the 7 billion increase added to the GPG budget during the budget adjustment process, thereby increasing the allocation from 142.6 billion to 149.6 billion. 4.3 billion was added to the provincial equitable share to cater for the public sector wage settlement. 3 billion was allocated to the compensation of employees. In addition, to honor the obligation of the 2020-21 financial year, 665 million and 1.2 billion was rolled over in conditional grants and provincial equitable share sequentially, as well as the 465 million reallocated for the previous financial year. As of the third quarter, the GPG departments requisitioned 107.2 billion, which is equated to 71.7% of the adjusted budget. Of this amount, 107.1 billion, which is equal to 99.9%, was departmental cash requisition, while 49.8 million rand, or 0.1, accounts for provincial direct charges. Provincial receipts arising from the provincial equitable share, conditional grants, and own revenue amounts to 85.1 billion, 19.2 billion, and 4.7 billion, respectively. It is worth noting, Deputy Speaker, that the revenue collection, as per the adjusted appropriation for 2021-22 financial year, was projected at 6.98 billion. However, as at the end of the third quarter, 4.7 billion, or 68%, was collected. During the quarter under review, the overall GPG expenditure amounted to 107.8 billion of the adjusted appropriation budget of 149.6 billion. On the process followed, Madam Speaker, the Speaker formally referred the third quarter financial performance report to the Gauteng Provincial Government for the 2021-22 financial year to the Portfolio Committee for consideration and reporting. On concerns, Madam Speaker, the committee is concerned about the following. On the Office of the Premier, that the Office of the Premier continue to underspend due to the sluggish process about the payment of life asset money claims which emanate from the 2018 arbitration. The Department of Health, the ever-worsening track record of the department to pay service provider within 30 days as provided in law. The Department of Social Development, that the department's expenditure is impacted upon by a slow supply chain management process, which is symbolic to poor planning. On human settlement, the department's poor financial performance despite the undertaking to improve in the previous quarter. And 6 is whether the department have demand management plans in place in light of the protracted process of appointing professional service providers, resulting in the delays in the commencement of the construction. On road and transport, Madam Speaker, the under expenditure in the department, which is attributed to inadequate project management processes, what justified the approval of the 94.5 million rollover funds for the public transport operation grant, considering its underperformance. On the sports, arts and culture, the stability in the department in view of the funded vacant posts, even at the SMS level, and the impact thereof of service delivery. Madam Speaker, on recommendations, we recommend the following, Madam Speaker, that the Office of the Premier should continue to submit a report highlighting the challenges regarding the payment of life asset money claims which emanate from 2018 arbitration. On Department of Health, we recommend the following, that the department should develop and submit a strategy indicating how it intends complying with the 30 days payment to suppliers as provided in law. On social development, we recommend that the department should provide an explanation of what are the bottlenecks within the supply chain management process and to what extent are they reflecting on the poor planning in the department. On human settlement, we recommend that the department should provide the committee with a proof of the existence of demand management plans for the 2021-22 financial year in view of the poor financial performance conditional grant, and that the department should provide a report on how it intends circumventing the surrender of the conditional grants in the future. On the Department of Transport, that the department should submit the strategy on how it will capacitate itself in the project management process in view of the critical of the same in the department. On the Department of Sports, we recommend that the department should provide a report highlighting how it will capacitate itself to ensure stability and uninterrupted delivery on its constitutional mandate. On acknowledgement, Madam Speaker, the Portfolio Committee extends its gratitude to Honorable MEC Nkomorale Hoko, the Head of Department, Ms. Mnyane, and all the officials of the Houghton Provincial Treasury for their cooperation during the consideration of the report. Appreciation goes to all the members of the Portfolio Committee. The gratitude is extended to all the support staff for the work done during this process. On the adoption of the report, after due consideration, the Finance Portfolio Committee adopted the third quarter SGPG State of Finance report for the year 2021-22 financial year in terms of Rule 117(2)(c), read with Rule 164. The Finance Portfolio Committee presents to this House and recommends the adoption of the Committee's Oversight report on the third quarter of the GPG State of Finance report for 2021-22 financial year. Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker.
Thank you. Is there a seconder?
Member Masuku seconds.
Thank you, Member Khamela. Those who agree with the adoption of the report say yay. Those who do not agree say no. The yes have it. Thank you. Secretary, next order, please.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker. Infrastructure Development Portfolio Committee Oversight Report on the third quarterly performance report of the Department of Infrastructure Development for the 2021-2022 financial year. Thank you.
Honorable Modise.
Thank you so much, Madam Deputy Speaker. A request is made that part of the reports that are not going to be read be considered as read, and therefore the report will focus on 5 things: introduction, concerns, recommendation, acknowledgement, and adoption. On introduction, this report has been developed in accordance with the sector oversight model, the GPL Committee's oversight and accountability framework, as part of the GPL project on standardization of oversight, accountability, and reporting in Gauteng. It further outlines the macro assessment, which looks at the overall performance of the department, and the micro assessment, which focuses on program-by-program performance. This is done to determine if there is a balance between the department's output, inputs, and outcomes. The committee's approach is focused on whether the department planned outputs have been achieved and whether the allocated funds have been effectively and efficiently utilized to ensure value for money. This assessment forms part of the oversight work that is continuously carried out by the committee to evaluate the implementation of programs against set targets and expenditure for the period under review. Committee concerns with regards to Program 1, the committee is concerned that there was a regression in the procurement allocated to people with disability-owned enterprises, which moved from 1.71% in the previous quarter to 0.2% in the quarter under review. With respect to spending on the MVA, Military Veterans Association-owned companies has declined in quarter under review from 0.28% as compared to previous quarter, where it was 0.76%. On the targets for Township Enterprise Revitalization Program were not achieved during this period. With regards to Program 1, the committee is concerned that 30-day payments achieved by DID specifically. However, what was the payment percentage by the Claims Department under the quarter under review is not clear. Committee is concerned that the department reported that business case for additional funding was submitted to Treasury in order to be in a position to fill the vacancy rate of 511 posts by May 2022. Committee is also concerned that final notice of termination to the contractor at Resteval Secondary School with the project at 70% completion did not make sense. The committee is concerned that 75 Fox Street is delayed due to non-performance of the contractor and lack of financial resources. The committee is also concerned that targets related to work opportunities were not achieved, seeing that only 721 opportunities were created against 5,252 work opportunities that was reported in the infrastructure sector. And then with regards to 1,173 work opportunities reported by social sector against the targeted 4,419 is a serious concern. That the department planned to have a GP municipalities reporting 13,759 work opportunities but only achieved 3,044 is also a concern. Recommendation that the department should indicate if targets related to spending towards people with disability, military veterans, and youth-owned companies will be achieved in the current financial year, and if not, a report highlighting a plan in place to mitigate the regressing spend should be submitted in writing by 22nd of April 2022, that the department should submit a report indicating the payments of clients' department and their adherence to the 30-day target. Also, the response is in writing and is expected on the 22nd of April 2022. The department to provide a progress report or the outcome to be submitted of the business case for additional funding to fill vacant posts. The report is expected to come on the 22nd of April 2022. And in an effort to eliminate the recurring termination of contractors due to poor performance and ensuring the delivery of projects on time, the department is to provide measures in place to ensure contractors that are awarded contracts are financially sound and have proven track record. The report is also expected on the 22nd of April 2022. The department to provide a detailed report of the progress on the support and intervention in place to ensure reliable reporting of data by public bodies on the work opportunities created under EPWP. That report is expected on the 22nd of April 2022. And the last recommendation is that the department should submit a list of legislation, regulation that hinder intergovernmental relations.
This means it's pretty charging the laptop.
Member Shackleton. Member Shackleton, please mute. Sorry.
The department should submit a list of legislation, regulation that hinder intergovernmental relations impacting on the completion of projects, as well as table suggestions on how this can be mitigated. The report is also expected on the 22nd of April 2022. On acknowledgements, the chairperson of Portfolio Committee on Infrastructure Development and Property Management would like to thank Honorable MEC Mutara, head of department, and entire department executive for their efforts in the consideration of this report. Further appreciation is to the diligent deliberation of honorable members Magagula, Dialetabela, Ndlovu, Fuchs, Diache, Mufama, Mabala, and Hoffman. The committee would also like to thank Budibe, Chavalala, Ndlaluse, Mulibane, Kumalo, Ngume, Mbonane, and Pirimi for dedication and assistance. On adoption, in terms of Rule 1172C, read together with Rule 164, the Portfolio Committee on Infrastructure Development and Property Management present before the House the Oversight Report on the Department of Infrastructure Development third quarter report for the 2021-2022 financial year for consideration and adoption. Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Medise. Is there a seconder?
Member Ndlovu, I rise to second, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you. Those who agree with the adoption of the report say yes.
Yes.
Those who do not agree
yes.
say no. The yes have it. Secretary, please read the next order.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker. Roads and Transport Portfolio Committee Oversight Report on the third quarterly performance report of the Department of Roads and Transport, including Houghton Management Agency and Chief Fleet Management for the 2021-2022 financial year. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Schneemann.
Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker. In the quarter under review, the committee noted that the department and its entities were able to contribute towards two provincial strategic objectives, namely, Priority 1, building a capable and ethical and developmental state, and Priority 2, economic transformation and job creation. This was achieved through the payment of 85% of SMMEs and township businesses within 15 days against a planned target of 70%, whilst 26% of discretionary procurement spend was directed towards township suppliers. Installed 96% of subsidised buses with electronic monitoring devices to improve the reliability of the subsidised bus services to commuters. Advertised the new bus tender contract on the 15th of October 2021. Registered 1,086 minibus taxi operators on the Provincial Minibus Taxi Database. And on the Transport Authority, Gauteng, the department was able to advertise 11 positions to capacitate the TAG with relevant expertise and appoint a service provider to compile the provincial land transport framework. In relation to achievement of service delivery targets, the committee noted that of the 19 annual performance plan targets applicable for the period under review, the department achieved 6 outputs, which equates to 32% achievement as at the end of the quarter. The committee noted that the GMA, or Gauteng Management Agency, achieved 20 of the 24 planned targets, which equates to 83%. G-Fleet managed to achieve 3 out of 6 planned targets, which equates to 50%. The committee commends the continuous achievement of planned targets by the GMA. However, the committee is deeply concerned by the continuous low level of attainment of planned service delivery targets by the department and G-Fleet, and will continue to urge both to enhance performance and capacity to resolve challenges that may exist in the implementation of these planned targets. In the 2021-2022 financial year adjustment budget process, the committee noted that the budget allocated to the department was adjusted downwards by 1.3%. In relation to expenditure in the quarter, the committee noted that the department managed to spend 23% for the quarter under review across all programs, whilst G-Fleet spent 25%. The committee noted that the department was able to reprioritise its planned targets and allocated budget during the adjustment budget process, and is hopeful that this exercise will limit the underspending of allocated resources at the end of the financial year. On the non-financial performance per programme, the committee noted that the department and entities continue to face challenges with the implementation of planned targets in relation to the planned procurement targets related to women, youth and persons with disabilities, due to several gaps identified in the information impacting on the correctness of reported information, as it did not include payments to subcontractors ranging from Q1. According to the department, a review of information for all quarters of the financial year will be completed and reported in Q4. On the implementation of infrastructure projects, the committee noted that there seems to be no developments with regards to the relocation of illegal residents along the road reserves to allow for the continuation of construction of the K54 and K69 roads in the city of Tshwane. The committee noted that the contractor for the K54 has terminated the contract and de-established the site due to lack of access to the project site, and the department was foreseeing the same reaction from the contractor in the K69 due to similar challenges of lack of access to the site. The committee is concerned over the continuous delays in the relocation process in relation to the construction of the K54 and K69 roads, as well as the impact this might have on the future timelines and budget thereof. With regards to subsidised contracts, the committee noted that the department was able to finalise bid specifications for the 3 new subsidised bus contracts, and the bid evaluation committee has made recommendations and approval for advertisement on an open tender. According to the department, the tender was advertised on the 15th of October 2021. A compulsory tender briefing was held on the 27th of October 2021, and the closing date for the tender was extended to the 14th of January 2022 due to the pending court case brought by the South African bus operators. Furthermore, the MEC received a letter from the Minister of Transport imploring him to halt the tender process pending the National Department of Transport-driven consultations with National Treasury and the Auditor General. The committee commends the department for the advertisement of the tender and hopes that the court case will not have any bearing on the appointment of the deserving contractors, as bid evaluations are expected to be finalised in March 2022. The committee noted that the department and its entities are failing to meet the same targets that were raised as concerns in the previous quarter, particularly on the expenditure awarded to women, persons with disabilities, delays in the implementation of planned infrastructure projects, and the G-Fleet debt collection system seems not to be effective enough, as client departments are not abiding by the agreement payment plans. The committee insists that the department and its entities should focus on resolving the above challenges in line with the intervention plans in place. I wish to move to the recommendations, which are as follows, and indicate that responses are required for all of them by the 31st of May 2022. Firstly, that the department should provide the committee with a detailed report on the implementation of intervention measures in place to achieve planned service delivery targets within the department and G-Fleet in the remaining quarters of the financial year. That the department should provide the committee with a detailed report on the reviewed HDR's performance targets for the current financial year. That the department should provide the committee with a detailed report on the development of the new organisational structure. The report should include the vacant posts for senior management and technical positions, as well as progress made in filling these positions. That the department should provide the committee with a detailed report on the intervention measures in place to curb underspending of the allocated budget at the end of the financial year. That the department should provide the committee with a detailed report on the development with regards to the proposed revised intervention measures on the relocation of illegal residents on the construction of roads K54 and K69 in Tshwane. And finally, that the department and G-Fleet management should provide the committee with a detailed report on the implementation of intervention measures in place to remedy the challenges experienced with Westbank. The report should also include the negative impact on the repairs and mechanical plant targets for the current financial year. We'd like to express our appreciation. The committee would like to express its appreciation to MEC Mamabolo, the HOD and officials from the department for their cooperation during this process. Appreciation is also extended to honourable members A. N. Glavana, R. Kikakana, D. Ledwaba, P. Mabunda, F. Nel, P. du Plessis, M. Ledwaba and N. Khadebe for their commitment to the oversight process. And then we would also want to express our appreciation to the committee section for their effort and work as well. In terms of Rule 117(2)(c), read together with Rule 164, the committee presents to this House and recommends the adoption of the committee's oversight report on the Gauteng Department of Roads and Transport, Gautrain Management Agency and G-Fleet's third quarterly performance report for 2021-22. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honourable Member. Is there a seconder?
I second the report, Speaker.
Thank you, Member Nel. All those who agree with the report, with the adoption of the report, say yes.
Yes.
Those who do not agree, say no. The yes have it. Thank you, Secretary.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Speaker. Road and Transport Portfolio Committee over Focus Intervention Study Report on the progress in resuming delayed projects. Thank you.
Honourable Clerk.
Once again, thank you very much, Deputy Speaker. In line with the strategic objectives of the Department of a modern, accountable and development-orientated department, the committee agreed to undertake a study on the progress in resuming delayed projects, namely the K46 William Nicol Road, the P39/1 Milders Drift Road, the Sebokeng DLTC/Tolab and the Vereeniging Taxi Rank. Since the beginning of the current political term, the committee noted the lack of developments within 4 projects and subsequently raised concerns and recommendations which were adopted as House resolutions. On the 4 projects, but to date, there seem to be no or minor developments taking place in implementing these projects. These concerns and recommendations were based on the possible negative financial and non-financial implications which were probable and or unavoidable within the above-mentioned projects. The purpose and objective of the study was to make a follow-up on the progress made by the department in resuming the above-mentioned delayed projects. Based on the presentations and engagements with the department, contractors and consultants, as well as oversight visits conducted to the above-mentioned projects, the committee noted that the implementation of infrastructure projects seems to be a very crucial and challenging area for the department, as planning and implementation targets, including allocated budgets, are not achieved or are not always achieved as planned. The committee noted that similar challenges are experienced within these projects that range from poor performance by contractors, lack of proper supervision by consultants, late or non-payment of supply invoices, which leads to contractors abandoning sites, and particularly the lack of intergovernmental relations with the Gauteng Department of Infrastructure Development. On the K46 William Nicol Road, the committee noted that the contractor has been appointed. Contracting of SMMEs is ongoing. The contractor has completed 70% of the site establishment. Construction of the materials lab has commenced, and the re-establishment of missing survey benchmarks has also commenced. On the P39/1 Milders Drift Road, the committee noted that the payment of outstanding invoices to the contractor and consultant, which led to the abandoning of the site, is currently in progress, and the contractor is expected to resume works in April 2022 when payments have been effected. In relation to the Sebokeng DLTC Tolab, the committee noted that the projects were formally transferred to the Gauteng Department of Roads and Transport on the 25th of August 2021. The department took a decision to make use of the services of Hatch for the development of the condition assessment report and appointment of the consultant from the Gauteng Department of Roads and Transport panel of consultants for the review of drawings. Finalisation of the tender document and construction supervision and the condition assessment report was completed, which will be followed by the appointment of professional service providers. Whilst the appointment can only be concluded as soon as supply chain management processes have been finalised, the framework for a procurement of PSP through a panel. On the Vereeniging taxi rank, the committee noted that the two consents now required to proceed are the Provincial Treasury approval of the proposal to split the business case into the temporary and permanent ranks, and certainty by the National Treasury on the procurement regulations. Furthermore, stakeholder meetings to share the latest concept designs are delayed until confirmation of the budget allocation by Provincial Treasury. However, it is envisaged that it will take another 12 months before construction work can commence on the permanent facility. Taking into consideration that the Department has established a transport infrastructure house, the committee would urge the Department to ensure that the infrastructure house is capacitated with the required skills and expertise required to provide effective interventions for the implementation of these projects. The committee is of the view that if the infrastructure house is well capacitated, it will assist the Department with proper monitoring and evaluation in planning and implementation of planned targets for infrastructure projects, thereby restricting irregular and wasteful expenditure realised because of work stoppages and poor performance by appointed contractors. I would like to move to the committee recommendations. The committee recommends that the Department should provide the committee with a detailed report by the 31st of May 2022 on the following. In relation to the K46 William Nicol Road, stakeholder consultation processes regarding the appointment of local labourers and contracting of SMMEs, the site establishment, construction of the materials lab and re-establishment of missing survey benchmarks, the submission for approval of extension of project timelines by the contractor through the consultant. The report should also include the possible financial and non-financial implications for the requested extension of construction time. With regards to the P39 1 Milders Drift Road, payment of outstanding invoices to the contractor and consultant, the possible financial and non-financial implications for the extension of construction time. With regards to the Sebokeng DLTC TOLAB, development of supply chain management framework for the procurement of the professional service providers through a panel, and the proposed revised planning and implementation targets for the construction of the project. The report should also include the proposed timelines and required budget to implement the project. And finally, in relation to the Vereeniging taxi rank, Provincial Treasury approval of the proposal to split the business case into the temporary and permanent ranks, and certainty by the National Treasury on the procurement regulations, and intervention plans to maintain the current taxi rank to eradicate potholes, address drainage challenges, and the refurbishment of the ablution facilities, as well as the reconnection of the high mast lighting. I want to then move to the acknowledgements, and again we would want to express, the committee would want to express its appreciation to MEC Mamabolo, the HOD and officials of the department for their cooperation during the FIS process. Appreciation also goes to all members of the Portfolio Committee for their commitment and dedication, and as well as to the committee support team for their cooperation and their assistance during this process. In terms of Rule 165, the committee presents to this House and recommends the adoption of the committee's focused intervention study report on progress in resuming delayed projects, namely the K46 William Nicol, P39 1 Milders Drift, Sebokeng DLTC, TOLAB, and the Vereeniging taxi rank, taking into account the comments and recommendations made in this report. I thank you.
Thank you, Member. Do we have a seconder?
Deputy Speaker, I rise to second the resolution.
Thank you. All those in favour of adopting the report say yes.
Yes.
Those who are not in favour say no. The yes have it. Secretary, please take us to the next order.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Speaker. Finance Portfolio Committee Oversight Report on the Principle of Houghton Provincial Appropriation Bill G001 of 2022 for the 2022-2023 financial year. Thank you.
Thanks. Member MPC.
Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker. Deputy Speaker, I request again that I keep my camera off so that I can get bandwidth that is correct. Madam Speaker, there are areas that I'm not going to read on the bill, and I'm going to focus on the principles and the entire executive summary and the recommendations. The Provincial Appropriation Bill provides for the appropriation of money from the Provincial Revenue Fund for the requirements of the province of Gauteng in respect to financial year ending 31st March 2023, and to provide matters incidental thereto. The 2022 MTEF budget was prepared within a very tight fiscal environment, and it is underscored by the following key budget principles: resourcing the provincial priorities of winning the battle against COVID-19 pandemic, reigniting the Gauteng economy, and recalibrating social policy to improve educational and health outcomes, reprioritization of the budget to resource GGT 2030 priorities, and the COVID-19 response plan, shifting of funds from consumption to investment in strategic economic infrastructure to support government reconstruction and recovery efforts. On the provincial fiscal framework, Madam Deputy Speaker, the Houghton provincial government received 146.5 billion in the form of the transfers from the national government in the 2022-23 financial year, with a projected increase of 148 billion in the outer year of the MTEF. It should be noted that although the equitable share was adjusted downward due to impact of data updates on the provincial equitable shares formula, the additional allocation to the PES negates the impact of the downward adjustment. Thus, the PES increased marginally from 120 billion in 2022-23 financial year to 120.8 billion in the 2024-25 financial year. The total budget allocation to the province is 153.7 billion for 2022-23 financial year, which grows steady to 157 billion in the outer year of the MTEF. On the conditional grants, Madam Deputy Speaker, the total amount allocated for conditional grants in the 2022-23 financial year amounts to 26.5 billion and are expected to decline to 26.1 billion in the 2023-24 financial year, before peaking at the 27.2 billion in the outer year of the MTEF. Vote for the Department of Health. The total conditional grant allocation to the Department of Health amounts to 14.4 billion in the 2022-23 financial year. The Department of Education, the overall allocation for the Department of Education amounts to 3.056 billion for the financial year under review. The department vote 6 of social development. The department received an amount of 24 million for the 2022-23 financial year only. The cooperative governance and traditional affairs, the department received an amount of 2.1 million in the 2022-23 financial year. Vote 8, Department of Human Settlement. The department is allocated 5.1 billion for the financial year under review. Vote 9, the Department of Roads and Transport. The Provincial Roads Maintenance Grant, the Public Transport Operation Grant, and the EPWP Integrated Grants are allocated to the total of 3.4 billion in the financial year under review. Community Safety received an amount of 4.7 million in the 2022-23 financial year. The Infrastructure Development, the department is allocated an amount of 6.7 billion for the 2022-23 financial year. The budget allocation per vote, Madam Speaker, the following budget appropriation have been allocated to the department for expenditure in the 2020-21 financial year over the MTEF period. The total allocation for the 2022-23 financial year amounts to 152.9 billion, with a projected increase to the outer years of the MTEF. Madam Speaker, the recommendations, the financial implications The provincial main appropriation amounts to 152.9 billion in the 2022 financial year, expected to decrease to 152.7 billion in the 2022-23 financial year, before increasing to 156.9 billion in the 2024-25 financial year. The major beneficiaries of the budget allocations are Department of Health, Education, and Social Development, as they account to the lion's share of the total budget. On the recommendation, Madam Speaker, we recommend that the GPT should continue to monitor the value for money and cost containment measures in all expenditure incurred in the GPG department. The GPT should ensure that there is allocative efficiency in the budget allocation in the view of the outstanding infrastructure projects. That the GPT should ensure the ring fence of funds by the department to service accruals. That the GPT should ensure that the GPG department spend their allocation in line with the APPs of the departments. On acknowledgement, Madam Deputy Speaker, the Portfolio Committee extends gratitude to Honorable MEC Komorale Hoko, the Head of Department, Ms. Miani, and the officials of the Gauteng Provincial Treasury for their cooperation during the consideration of the budget. Appreciation for diligence, dedication, and commitment shown during the processing of the Houghton Provincial Adjustment Appropriation Bill goes to all members of the Finance Portfolio Committee, Honorable Malema, Paladidi Khamela, Macheke, Atkinson, Randall, Masuku, and Mukwebo. The committee's gratitude is extended to all the support staff in the committee. On adoption, Madam Deputy Speaker, after due consideration, the Finance Portfolio Committee unanimously adopted the report on the principles of the Provincial Appropriation Bill in terms of Rule 117.2C, read with Rule 164. The Finance Portfolio Committee present to the House and recommends the adoption of the Oversight report and on the Houghton Provincial Appropriation Bill G001-2022. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Member Busy. Is there a seconder?
I rise to second, Acting Speaker, Honorable Malema. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Malema. Those who agree with the adoption of this report, say yay.
Yay.
Yes.
Yay.
Those who do not agree, say nay. Say no. Hey, these ones. You are backward, man. Say no. Okay, thank you. The yes have it. Thank you very much. Next order, please.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker. Finance Portfolio Committee Oversight Report on the Houghton Provincial Second Adjustment Appropriation Bill G002 of 2022 for the 2021-2022 financial year. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mpisi.
Thank you very much, Chair of Chairs. And Chair of Chairs, I'll take areas that I'm not going to read as read and focus on the executive summary and the recommendations. The second Provincial Adjustment Appropriation Bill, G002 of 2022, provides for the appropriation of the adjustment amount of money from the Provincial Revenue Fund for the requirements of the province in respect to financial year ending 31st March 2022, and to provide matters incidental thereto. The bill is endorsed by Section 31.1 of the PFMA of 1999, which enjoins the MEC for Finance to table the adjustment budget in the provincial legislature. The bill is in line with Section 31.2A and G of the PFMA, which stipulates that the adjustment budget of the province may only provide for A, the appropriation of funds that have become available to the province, B, unforeseeable and avoidable expenditure recommended by the Provincial Executive Council of the province within the framework determined by the Minister of the MEC. C, any expenditure in terms of Section 25. D, money to be appropriated for the expenditure already announced by the MEC for Finance during the tabling of the annual budget. E, the shifting of funds between and within the votes or to follow the transfer of funds or functions in terms of Section 42. F, the utilization of saving under a main division within a vote for the defrayment of excess expenditure under another main division within the same vote in terms of Section 43, and the rollover of unspent funds from the proceedings of the financial year. Madam Speaker, on the financial implications, likewise, the Gauteng residents will be equally deprived of the positive economic spin-offs that would have accrued as a result of the implementation of road maintenance and the formalization of the informal settlement in our province. On the financial implications, the second adjustment to the 2021-22 financial year appropriation decreased the provincial expenditure by 71.7 million from 149.5 billion to 149.4 billion. The budget allocation for most departments remain unchanged, apart from the Department of Roads and Transport and Human Settlement. On recommendations, Chair of Chairs, the Portfolio Committee recommends the following: that the GPT should ensure that the departments receiving conditional grants have credible demand management plans to circumvent the surrender of the conditional grant meant for service delivery due to the prolonged supply chain management processes in various departments. On acknowledgement, the Portfolio Committee would like to thank the MEC, Komorale Hoko, the head of departments, Ms. Miani, and the officials of the Houghton Provincial Treasury. Thanks to all the members of the Portfolio Committee for all the work done during this process. We want to thank all the committee's gratitude is extended to the following support staff members: Mr. Tibudive, Mr. John Sani, Ms. Dibier, Mr. Tsetla, Ms. Chilwane, Ms. Mdau, Mr. Nsibande, Mr. Dikola, Ms. Mabuza, Ms. Msimang, Ms. Interne, and Hansard Recorder, Ms. R. Singh. On the adoption, after due consideration, the Finance Portfolio Committee unanimously adopted the report on the second Provincial Adjustment Appropriation Bill G002 of 2022. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Okay, thank you very much, Honorable Mpisi. Any seconder? Thank you very much, Honorable Dikhamela. I now put the question. All those in favor say yes. Yes. All those not in favor say no. The ayes have it. Secretary, please read the next order.
Thank you, Honorable Chair of Chairs. Finance Portfolio Committee Oversight Report on the Principle of Houghton Provincial Second Adjustment Appropriation Bill G002 of 2022 for the 2021-2022 financial year. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Mpisi, please present the report.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I'm going to be short on this one. Madam Speaker, Chair of Chairs, I take the areas that I'm not going to read as read. Section 31.1 of the PFMA empowers the MEC for Finance to table an adjustment budget in the Legislature. On the 9th of December 2021, the Houghton Provincial...
MEC. Thank you. You can continue, MPC.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. The Gauteng Provincial Treasury table an adjustment appropriation amounting to 149.5 billion. It is on the same basis that the approval is sought for the amendment of the previous budget adjustment tabled on the 9th of December 2021. It is against this it is against this legislative backdrop that the bill seeks to amend the first Provincial Adjustment Appropriation Bill due to the Departments of Roads and Transport and Human Settlement. In consultation with the National Treasury and the affected provincial departments, decreased the conditional grant allocation by 71.8 million. The conditional grants for which the allocation is decreased pertains to a provincial roads maintenance grant of 51.8 million and the informal settlement upgrade partnership grant of 20 million, thus reducing the budget for the Gauteng province by 71.8 million from 149.5 billion to 149.4 billion. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mpisi. Is there a seconder?
I rise to second Masuku.
Thank you very much, Khamela and Masuku. I now put the question. All those in favor say yes. All those not in favor say no. The yes have it. We are now about to... Okay, Secretary, please read the next order.
Thank you, Honorable Chair of Chairs. Consideration of the separate votes in the schedule of the Houghton Provincial Second Adjustment Appropriation Bill G002 of 2022 for the 2021-2022 financial year. Thank you.
In terms of Rule 223, the order in which money bills should be dealt with by the House, after the consideration of the principle of the bill, the consideration of the votes in the schedule takes place. In the case of the Gauteng Provincial Adjustment Appropriation Bill, the report speaks to the principle of the bill. The process followed. Summary is actually revised by the departmental allocation as well as the main amendment of the Gauteng Provincial Adjustment. The whips have indicated that there will be no debate on the votes, so I'll put to the House for consideration the specific votes that have been indicated in the schedule of the bill. I'll now ask the chairperson of the committee, member James Pisi, whether he'll prefer the presiding officer to put the votes individually for consideration or whether the chairperson would like to deal with the votes collectively. Chairperson Pisi?
Collectively, Deputy Speaker.
I couldn't hear that, Chairperson.
We'd like to deal with that collectively.
Okay, thank you very much, Honorable Pisi.
Can I go ahead?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Chair of Chairs. The transfer from national decreased by 71.7 million from 149.5 billion to 149.4 billion. On the conditional grant, Chair of Chairs, the Department of Roads and Transport, the Portfolio Committee noted that the reduction was due to poor spending resulting from the department's inability to finalize the procurement of the contract for maintenance program on time. On the Department of Human Settlement, the Portfolio Committee noted that the conditional grant is decreased due to protracted supply chain management process, which resulted in the delay appointment of the service providers. On the department's allocation, the revised department allocation, Madam Speaker, Chair of Chairs, on vote 1, the Office of the Premier, the adjusted budget is unchanged from at 867 million. Vote 2, the provincial Gauteng Provincial Legislature, the adjusted budget is unchanged at 795.7 million. Vote 3, which is economic development, the adjusted budget is unchanged at 1.7 billion. Vote 4, Department of Health, the adjusted budget is unchanged at 59.6 billion. Vote 5, education, the adjusted budget is unchanged at 56.6 billion. On vote 6, social development, the adjusted budget is unchanged at 6.1 billion. Vote 7, the cooperative governance and traditional affairs, the adjusted budget is unchanged at 592.072 million. Vote 8, the human settlement, the adjusted budget is decreased by 20 million from 5.9 billion to 5.966 billion. Vote 9, the Department of Roads and Transport, the budget is decreased by 51.7 million from 8.5 billion to 8.515.74 billion. Vote 10, the Department of Community Safety, the adjusted budget is unchanged at 980.9 million. Vote 11, the Department of Agriculture and Rural Development, the adjusted budget is unchanged at 1 billion. Vote 12, the Department of Sports, Arts, Culture and Recreation, the adjusted budget is unchanged at 1.025 billion. Vote 13, the e-government, the adjusted budget is unchanged at 1.5 billion. Vote 14, Provincial Treasury, the adjusted budget is unchanged at 675.5 million. Vote 15, the Department of Infrastructure Development, the adjusted budget is unchanged at 3.2 billion. On the social implication, Chair of Chairs, it should be noted that the surrender of the conditional grant by the Department of Roads and Transport and Human Settlement deprives the Gauteng residents of the maintenance of their road networks and formalization and the upgrade of their localities respectively, thus improving the quality of our people's lives. Thank you very much, Chair of Chairs. Okay,
thank you very much, Honorable Mpisi. I think we need to move to the next order. The Secretary, please read the next order.
Thank you, Honorable Chair of Chairs. Decision on the separate votes in the schedule to the Houghton Provincial Second Adjustment Appropriation Bill G002 of 2022 for the 2021-2022 financial year. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Secretary. I will now put the question on the separate votes in terms of Rule 223. In terms of Vote 8, Human Settlement, there are some few declarations from Member Randall, Member Adams, Member Dlamini, and Member Litwaba. I now put a question on Vote 8. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
All those not in favor say no.
No. No.
No.
Oh, no, no.
No.
Okay, the yes have it. Is there any member of the party that wants to make a statement? Is the annex chair?
Yes, Chair of Chairs, the Member Dlamini here.
Member Dlamini?
Thank you, Honorable Chair of Chairs. The IFP notes the proposed second amendment appropriation bill, albeit it means fewer financial resources on the already tight Departmental of Human Settlements budget vote and earmark for providing decent housing to many citizens of Gauteng. With that in mind, the IFP wishes to highlight the need for an urgent response to a squalling living conditions that many citizens remain subjected to living under. Despite the bold promise each year by the Gauteng government on the inclusion and development of hostel communities, many of them are yet to see the tangible difference in their lives and the restoration of their dignity. Hostel communities in this province remain on the back foot of the government's priorities. This has to end and end now. We want to see the efficient and effective use of budget allocations. It is high time that this government does what is right by its citizens, especially those hostel residents who are really living like animals. I thank you.
Member Adams.
Member Adams.
Thank you, Honorable Chair of Chairs. Let me make this statement. Representing the department, Colin Pitso said Gauteng has about 2.1 million people sitting on the National Housing Needs Register, NHNR. The information that is sitting there is incomplete, very imprecise records. Many of those who do not qualify, many whose life has changed for the better, some died and duplicates. For us to eradicate the backlog in the database, the department requires approximately 800 billion. In today's interest rate, I don't know how much it will cost us and where the money will come from, said Pitso. Honorable Chair of Chairs, some of the problems were laid bare by Colin Pitso, Chief Director of Beneficiary Management in Gauteng Department of Human Settlements, in a seminar held in Pretoria, hosted by the GPL Portfolio Committee on Cocked and Human Settlement, includes shacks built under Eskom pylons in order to jump the housing queue, houses painted in people's names a day before allocation, and business forums stopping projects to benefit. It is very difficult, Honorable Chair of Chairs, at this stage, for us as the ACTP to support it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Member Adams.
Honourable Chair of Chairs, Member Randall, I just need clarity. I've got one declaration for both the votes. Can I leave it until we've dealt with the roads and transport?
IT, please check the mics. People can hear.
Honourable Chair of Chairs, can you hear me now, Member Randall?
Yes, I can hear you.
Just for clarity, can I now do my declaration, because it actually is a combination for both of the affected departments, or must I wait after roads and transport, Chair of Chairs?
Okay, you can do it after transport, it's okay. I now call
Thank you.
Okay, Member Litwaba.
Thanks, Chair of Chair. We have noted that the budget allocation for human settlement has been decreased by 20 million from 5.986 billion to 8.966 billion. This is due to the department's failure to spend the allocated conditional grant budgeted for the ISUPG. The department's lame excuse on each occasion it fails on its mandate, blames the supply chain processes and delays in the appointment of service providers. This is a historical excuse, and nothing is being done to remedy the situation despite the problem being diagnosed. The province remains with a backlog of about 1.2 million houses that were promised by the state for the last 28 years now. The department has been a dismal failure for the last decade, with a lot of corruption happening in the low-income earning housing bracket, where employed residents may rent from state-subsidized properties at a low cost to them and ultimately own the properties. For its lack of decisive leadership, the National Treasury decided to reduce the conditional grant for ISUPG, and this is the money that could have been used to better service our people who stay in the informal settlement across the province. What this department is good at is its obsession with evicting people despite court orders instructing them not to do so, like in Mooiplaas, Oliven, and Vliehof. The money could have been utilized to upgrade some of the oldest informal settlements in the province, which are mostly located in Ekurhuleni, such as the Glen Marikana informal settlement. They do not have a plan to relocate informal settlements such as Ibnamdini, Nsholozi, Lindelane, Dalimpofu, and Freedom Park in Ekurhuleni, and many more in this province. The department cannot even deal with allegations that some of its officials are involved in the selling of land to the destitute and needy residents. It cannot give assistance to residents who applied and completed subsidy forms and the houses given to wrong people. It goes without saying that there are fewer informal settlements in this province that are earmarked for human settlement development, yet they are failing to spend the money earmarked for ISUPG. We have for many years advocated for the establishment of state housing construction company so that we rid this government with issues of prolonged supply chain processes and delays in the appointment of service providers. It is important that the state build internal capacity to do the jobs that could easily be done by government and not outsourcing some services. We previously rejected the budget vote based on numerous irregularities and will continue to do so. I thank you.
Oh, no, thank you very much. Thank you, sir. We have already voted on this one. The yes have it. We now move to the next vote, vote 9. I now put the question on vote 9. All those in favor say yes.
Yes. Yes.
All those against say no.
No. Yes.
No.
No. No.
The yes have it. In terms of the declaration, I've got 2 for this one. Member Randall and Member Litwaba. I'll start with Member Randall.
Thank you, Chair of Chairs. In terms of Rule 106, I, Member Randall, on behalf of the Democratic Alliance, wishes to have the following comments noted. The DA notes with concern the Department of Roads and Transport that had to surrender 51.8 million to National Department of Transport due to the poor spending of the Provincial Road Maintenance Conditional Grant that was brought about by procurement challenges. Now, in recent surveys done, results show that 91% of respondents, that's contractors, felt government procurement processes were not open and transparent, while 57% agree that corruption is most pertinent during procurement and tender phases of the infrastructure cycle. This department had clearly failed on timeously putting its demand and procurement plans for the 21-22 financial year in place. The Democratic Alliance believe that a well-developed and maintained road network is crucial for the economic growth to happen, yet this department again had to surrender funds similar to what happened in the 2018-19 financial year. Madam Chair of Chairs, for human settlements, we note a reduction of 20 million in the informal settlement upgrading partnership grant. Planning and prolonged supply chain processes resulted in the delayed appointment of service providers. The introduction of this grant was done already in the 2021 financial year with the aim of providing beneficiaries with access to basic services and security of tenure over the MTSF period 2019 to 2024. So 20 million rand could have given this access and security of tenure to beneficiaries waiting desperately for many years. With the constant in-migration of people into Gauteng, grants intended to uplift and grow the economy must be optimally used to the advantage of those who desperately need it. And continuing with business as usual regarding policies and interventions will definitely fail to meet the poverty and inequality reduction targets set for the year 2030. I thank you, Chair of Chairs.
Thank you very much, Member Randall. Member Litwaba.
Thanks, Chair of Chairs. The roads and transport budget has been decreased by 51.8 million from 8.5 billion to 8.516 billion. This is due to the department's failure to spend on the Provincial Road Maintenance Grant. Failure to spend the conditional grant meant for road maintenance means this will obviously have a knock-on effect on the economic activity of the province. Gauteng, as an economic hub, uses roads to transport goods to different destinations across the country. The department does not care about the economic impact its failure to use the grant cost to this province. There are roads in the province that had been under construction for many years and remain incomplete. Reasons provided for the department's failure to complete these roads varies from community unrest to contractors downing tools due to non-payment of invoices. Again, for this department, their failure to spend the conditional grant is attributed to the department's inability to finalize procurement of the contractors for maintenance program on time. It cannot be correct that at this age, the department lacks the requisite skills to finalize its procurement processes. This obviously shows that the tendering system and outsourcing of work has proven to be a failure. We would not be in this position if ANC-led government had heeded our advice that there is a need to establish a construction company owned solely by the state to do road construction instead of relying on private companies which are driven mainly by profit motive and to milk the state of its scarce resources. The department has no integrated transport system and can never have any if it fails to develop plans on how to utilize the conditional grants. What it does best is to continue to allocate most of the roads and transport budget to the Gauteng. This alliance train gets priority while not enough attention is paid into modes of transport used by majority of our poor working class African citizens. We travel long distances to and from work without getting any mercy from the state. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Litwaba. We have already voted on this one. The yes have it. Secretary, please read the next order.
Thank you, Honorable Chair of Chairs. Decision on the schedule to the Houghton Provincial Second Adjustment Appropriation Bill G002 of 2022 for the 2021-2022 financial year. Thank you.
Okay. And now put the question in terms of Rule 223 in bracket 6 on the schedule of the Provincial Adjustment Appropriation Bill G002/2022. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
All those,
Yes.
all those against say no.
No.
The yes have it.
No.
No, thank you very much. The yes have it. Secretary, please read the next order.
Thank you, Honorable Chair of Chairs. Motion in terms of Rule 112, Sub-Rule 2, Paragraph A, read with Rule 223 and Rule 224 on the adoption of the Houghton Provincial Second Adjustment Appropriation Bill G002 of 2022 for the 2021-2022 financial year. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I now call on MEC Nkomorale Hoko to move for the adoption of the Gauteng Provincial Second Adjustment Appropriation Bill.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson of Committees. I, the member of the Executive Council for Finance, Honorable Nkomorale Huku, tabled the following motion in terms of Rule 117, subsection 2, paragraph A, read with Rule 223 and Rule 224 on the adoption of Gauteng Provincial Second Adjustments Appropriation Bill, that this House adopts the Gauteng Provincial Second Adjustment Appropriation Bill B/2022 for the 2022-2023 financial year. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
No, thank you very much. I wasn't aware that my mic was not on. In terms of the Rule 223, in brackets 7, the question on the adoption of money bill is determined by the roll call as follows. In terms of Rule 223, in bracket 7, the question on the adoption of a money bill shall be determined by a roll call. I now call on the Sergeant at Arms to bring the bells for 8 minutes as agreed by the whips in terms of Rule 109. Now it says 8 minutes here. When I'm just so good, can I then request political parties, please check with your people if they've logged on, or the whips should check if their people have logged on, because I don't want people to be called after we've called their names and they don't respond. Thereafter, so whips, please No WhatsApp, please check your people now in these 8 minutes. Otherwise, if you pass your name, those who have joined us visually, please make sure that you actually stay connected. When your name is called, please respond. For the House not to be surprised, I will be voting yes. And the Speaker, wherever she is, she'll then not vote.
Ezra. Ezra.
Honorable Litswalo, just indicate if you are connected.
Ezra.
Honorable Litswalo.
I thought you voice Ezra today. Mabala, what Ezra? I knew it.
Mabala, please indicate if you are connected.
We knew you were going to enter, Mama. We knew.
Mabala, please indicate if you are connected. Just say yes, nothing else.
You are connected.
When it's my turn, don't sabotage me and say.
But Chair, there's somebody who's with
Ezra, doing some shopping. Busy wa rega kwa ko Diamond Walk. Ezra la motse wa rata shopping le ba bane na le go shopping.
Ezra is here. Ezra is here.
Ezra ko Zara mani le 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 ikupa fe. Because now why no one answer ko Zara ke mo bane na thenile on camera a le ko Zara. So ke motho le di Zara.
Ke ko kae ko Zara?
Oh, wena mbolela ngena mabala. Wena mbolela ngena mabala. Oh, mabala mbolela bjang. Nanse ke skola ke lo wena.
Honorable Litswalo.
Lo ke bolela nnete.
Honorable Litswalo. Honorable Litswalo, I've been requesting to indicate whether you are connected or not, and you kept quiet. But immediately member your friend.
I mean, so network is a bit of a problem here. You know, I kept on coming in and out. In and out.
Thank you very much, honorable members. Litswalo, Mabala, please keep quiet. Member Mabala Tula. Thank you. Thank you very much. The Secretary will now read out the names of members. Although, I will also request that you stand and you respond either yes or no when your name is called. Kindly respond loudly as your vote is being recorded, including those that have joined us virtually. Can we now call the names, please?
Thank you, Honorable Chair of Chairs. I'll be reading the names. I'll start from my left, row 1. MG Makura.
Yes.
Aili Sufi.
Yes.
M.E. Kumalo.
Yes.
N.E. Moketi.
Yes.
N. Nkomoralo Hoko.
N. Nkomoralo Hoko.
L.I. Maile,
Yes.
P.J. Mamabolo,
Yes.
N.M. Dlagasa Manamela, M.K. Musupue,
Yes.
M.D. Trope,
Yes.
M.P. Dau, M.P. Dau,
Yes.
N.F. Mazibuku,
Mazibuko uyavuma.
T. Mutara,
Yes.
E.S. Malubani,
Yes.
M.J. Kanyani,
Yes.
T.E. Magagula, B.P. Ngube,
Yes.
M.G. Mudise, G.D. Skiman,
Yes.
W.M. Matseka,
Yes.
J. Mpisi,
Yes.
B.E. Masuke, B.E. Masuku,
Yes.
M.K. Chulwani, M.K. Chilwani,
Struggling with network. Just send the text.
R.J. Kikana,
Yes.
P.B. Mabunda, P.B. Mabunda, K.P. Dialet Tabela,
Yes. Don't forget Tabela again.
D.P. Malema, D.P. Malema, D.C. Lidwaba,
Yes.
F. Hassan,
Yes.
M.R. Paladi Di Khamela, T. Ndlovu, T. Ndlovu,
Yes.
B.E. Litswalo,
Yes.
S. Kanyile,
Yes.
S.M. Litsie,
Ma. Let's see.
S.M. Litsie,
Yes.
L.E. Makubela, L.E. Makubela,
Yes.
AA Ndlovana,
Yes.
ST Msimanga,
No.
JB Blue,
No.
IE Mukwebo,
No.
ADW Alberts,
No.
DK Adams,
No.
BW Dlamini, BW Dlamini, BA Engelbrecht, AJ Fuchs,
No.
Arntzeke,
No.
en Ramulifo,
No.
BF Bedenhoff,
Nia.
Keitong,
No.
Arbim Nisi, RB Mnisi, MF Ledwaba,
No.
CW Mabala,
No.
WD Peach,
No.
AM Randall,
Nia.
SM Ghana,
No.
EP Duplessis,
No.
AW Silas,
No.
FP Nel,
No.
JJ Hoffman, JJ Hoffman, A. De Lange, A. De Lange, Casey Mazwi, Casey Mazwi, no, I'm not. MR Mufama, MR Mufama, AG Chitangano,
No.
ND Radebe,
No.
MS Koma, MS Koma, MH Sirota,
No.
MS Chabalala,
No.
MS Chabalala,
No.
MS Shackleton,
No.
C. Bosch,
No.
SJP De Santos,
No.
NM De Jager,
No.
PJ Acterson,
Not supported.
Please note, Member Chilwane, it's a yes.
And Member Malema as well, because I kept on saying yes, but I could hear that you are not hearing me. I've since been logging in and hearing everything here. So my vote is yes, and I've sent a message as well.
Member Makubela, it's a yes.
And Member Malema is a yes as well.
And Member Chilwane is a yes as well.
Chair, Member Hoffman had the same problem, but he did indicate on the chat that he voted. Thank you.
And I also indicated on the charter, Madam Chair, that I had a technical problem because I kept on saying yes, yes, but I could hear that I was not audible.
Member Mavunda, I've been trying to say yes as well. And I could hear everybody, but it seemed like nobody was hearing me.
No, we heard you, Member Mavunda.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, honorable members. Ke Friday ya je ko re tla chakela pleke o tshantse re behave ka tsela e ka yona. So mara gona nong a ke re meng hanyang. Okay, thank you very much. In terms of the outcome of the votes, 33 yes, 28 no, 10 no response, 1 no vote, that is the speaker, 1 vacant. All in all, it's 73. So these are the results of the... ne ke kopa di-whips. Kana di-whips. Ne ke kopa di-whips. Sis Togo. Sorry, give me a whip. Nal. Okay, thank you. Meeting also failed. First of all, saying if you guy, we have one second. Nah, what's that? What's that, Effie? Declare the votes. I now declare the votes. Batlhompegi. Bontate le bomme ba Palamente ya Gauteng. Bontate le bomme ba Palamente ya Gauteng. Please, ke le tshepisitse ra fetsa gona no le tla mo plekeng ele tla gona go behave so go teng. Le ska wa re a teng. Let me declare the votes. The yes have it. The Houghton Provincial Second Adjustment Appropriation Bill G002-2022 is adopted. That concludes the business of the day. The next meeting, we are now supposed to go for 26. Okay. Others call it constituency time, others they'll say is a resting period. So for about a month, we will actually be on leave or we will be serving our constituency. We'll come back here on the 26th of April, 2022. The meeting is adjourned.
There was the issue. Point of order, there's the issue of the motion.
Okay. I thought the speaker have done that. Oh, okay. The outcome, my apologies. Let me just consult on this one. I thought it was dealt with at the beginning of the meeting. The motion that was submitted by Honorable Solim Sima. Can we resolve on the motion submitted by Honorable Msimang? At the beginning of the meeting, the Deputy Speaker, Dr. Msimang, indicated that in terms or because of the time submitted, we were not able to prepare for it, but there is no urgency. It will be considered at the next term. So, yeah. Okay, thank you very much. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you. Ay man, emela ku valelise. Mkwebo. Tate mkwebo. Emela papa. Emela. Tate mama bol. Kupunshebe papa. Thank you very much. The meeting is adjourned.
Busy one mo no old back dry gin mo. What raseta mo. Yes, yes.